só para apresentar que a gente tem importantes festivais parceiros com os quais a gente está tentando desenvolver uma parceria mais profunda. A ideia é que cada um dos festivais apresente um pouco o perfil deles, o que eles esperam, o que eles fazem, e aí vocês podem saber exatamente que tipo de conteúdo mandar para eles e tudo mais. E depois, no final, tem uma abertura para perguntas de vocês. Tá bom? Então, eu vou passar a palavra para o Ben, primeiro, porque ele tem que sair para pegar um avião já já. So, Ben, please, if you can start, because you have to leave early.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing? Everything okay? Good.
It is. Well, thank you all for having us and for having me. I'm very happy to be here. I love Sao Paulo, so every chance I get to be here, I'll take with both hands. I'm sorry to leave so soon, but I want to be back here with VR Days. VR Days is our event. It's now based in Amsterdam, and it's an event on virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. And it's across all horizontals. So we are not a game festival, but we are a festival that looks at the development of these technologies and how they impact the way we tell and consume stories. So that ranges from the arts to science, to healthcare, and to business applications like training applications. So we're trying to develop new content while we're there. So we give a place to an artist to work on a new work for 2 days, and then over the year we try to foster it and nurture it into a full project so it can present itself the year after. So that's how we try to support content creation. So we do a lot of talks, we have a big expo, we have a part where we show our selection of the best content, and it's a lot of networking and meeting people. And I think that's very important in this young industry that VR is, or maybe we cannot even call it an industry, but it's we're trying to kickstart an industry because it's at the moment it's totally driven by finance instead of driven by demand. But it's a very exciting space, and I would like to bring it to South America, VR Days Latin America, so 2019 or 2020, that's what I would love to do.
Cool, thank you. So who wants to go next, or do I pick? I can pick Teddy, and then we go from here to there.
Hi everyone, my name is Teddy Florea, and it's my first time in Latin America actually. I'm very pleased to be here in Sao Paulo. I'm going to spend 3 weeks in Brazil to discover your country, various aspects of it, from culture to games to a lot of adventures, hopefully. And I'd like to thank, of course, Gustavo and the organizers of the Big Festival for doing an amazing job. I've heard so much about the Big before coming here. I think they're doing a great promotion at GDC, at Gamescom, at other events, and I was very excited to come, and I must say that my expectations have been fulfilled. It's a good show, lots of good games, lots of good vibe, passion, and I really enjoy that. I think it's a Latin American sort of emotional take, which goes well with my sort of vision. So thank you for that. Right, so I'm here to talk about Nordic Game, and when I was asked to talk about Nordic Game in 10 minutes, there's so much to say. For me, Nordic Game is, actually I have a presentation of, should I just say slide or should I press something? Or?
I have a thing here.
Yeah, thanks. So for me, Nordic Game is not a conference, it's basically a feeling. When I joined Nordic Game 6 years ago, and mine to say it's going to be our 16th edition next year, so being there since 2003, I was struck by complexity of emotions. I mean, I just felt this sort of like, vibe of a, how to say, like a community, a really good sense of community and respect and desire to make games within the Scandinavian sphere with a huge global feel. A lot of like buyers and companies coming to meet with them and to exchange a lot of knowledge. And I think that's something that is very Scandinavian in the sense that in that community, respect and passion, they kind of go well hand in hand together. So as you can see from our logo, the conference is built on knowledge, emotion, and business. And I'm going to talk a bit about each of those. Don't know how this works. Yes, so we have here some figures. So basically, this year, we just ran our conference a month ago, so we had 2,046 attendees, 872 companies, 49 countries. And that's quite impressive because we started from 100 people and pizzas in 2003. So it was a very small event for the community and just gradually built on the actual success of the games in the Nordic sphere. And going further, I'm really not good with this. Oh, it takes time, right? Yeah. Okay, so basically through Nordic Game, we do the conference, but we have also other external events across the world. One of them is the Discovery Contest, in which we go to 14 countries each year, and we run competitions for the game events in which we receive submissions of games, and we decide with a panel of experts, with investors, publishers, and media, which best game will go to Nordic and be featured there. And we try to offer them quite a lot of prizes, from free PR campaigns to marketing advice to also inclusion towards investment schemas, and of course a lot of consultancy. So I'm going to show you a few slides here. This is how the contest looks like. Basically at Nordic Game, there's a panel of experts, and this is the winning game from Finland that has won in season 2. And here we can play a video for you. This is where we go. So it's a lot of traveling, a lot of beer on this tour. This is how the panel looks like. Here we have Martin Balfis from Nordisk Film, one of our sponsors from the very big fund of 20 million euros that is given to equity-owned studios in the Nordic region. We have Dan Pearson from Game Industry Biz, Audra from Plan of Attack, Fumito Ueda, famous game designer from Japan, and so on. So we try to always bring some experts that can really give feedback for the games. And this is the winning game in 2017, so it's Okmo. And John Romero said that he loves it, so must be good, right? It's a mobile game, by the way. And that's how the Finns celebrate. So this was after they won the award. And yeah, so on the business side at Nordic, we have a lot of activities ranging from publisher market, for example, in which we bring publishers from across the world. One of them is in the audience here, Michael from Oasis Games, who was part of it. And they basically meet with 5 minutes with about 70 projects and give them feedback and hopefully do some business afterwards. We also have a investment focus in Nordic through the Games Financing Forum, which is basically matchmaking investors with projects that have raised 100 to 100K to create some synergies for partnerships and feedback. And of course, one of the main pillars of Nordic Game is knowledge. And here we take a very specific approach to knowledge. We try to be very original by bringing a sort of counterintuitive analysis to content. We try to bring controversial figures. We had Hideo Kojima that came 3 years ago, Fumito Ueda, bring people that can actually really sparkle debates. And this is Stig Curran with one of his talks. He's one of our in-house speakers. He's really dramatic on stage and we like that. Has he come to your show at A.Maze? Stig Curran, Thorsten? Has he been, Stig Curran? No. Back. And this is from Mito Ueda on a sort of presentation Q&A with the massive entertainment founder. And of course, Nordic Game is a lot about emotions. I mean, this comes from our sort of hedonistic take in life and extreme party behavior. We used to run very major parties at GDC, the Nordic Party, at E3, at Gamescom. And that was back in the days when we had a lot of funding from the governments. Now we don't need that anymore. We're self-sufficient, so we do everything within our own territory. So we have 9 evening events, gala dinner for 1,000 people, for example. And this is the gala dinner here. So basically, you have just 3-course meal and 1 and beer unlimited until the Vikings go nuts. And that's a happy hour that we do at the venue from 5 to 6 on each day. And of course, in the end, it's all about being close as a community, helping each other, and kind of creating this pillar of threesomeness through knowledge, emotion, and business. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't have slides, but I have a video. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about A.Maze. I'm the founder and director of A.Maze. We started in 2008 with the festival idea, but it was completely not into independent games. It was more like showing something playful, working with media artists, trying to make a network thing. We started in a small bar with 20 people, drinking a lot. Drinking is always the thing. And then having a lot of music. And we just tried to create a kind of a community, because in Berlin, nothing was existing. So I come from Berlin. And so, of course, there were festivals like IndieCade and Baby Castle did some stuff. So there was already some kind of inspiration. But in Europe, there was nothing about it. So nobody was talking about art and games or other media and all the kind of possibilities we have, how we can express ourselves in this wonderful art form, and nobody was really talking about it, nobody was really funding it. So from 2008 until now, 2018, so we're celebrating 10 years of playful media and A.Maze. The whole festival just grew exponentially. So now from whatever, when we did the first festival about independent games was 2012, and there were 50 people coming, and of course then we had some speakers. It was very nice, very familiar, and we had a nice exhibition, and we had some music. Everything got funded from the Medienboard Berlin Brandenburg, which was great. So, I mean, budget was very low, but we could do everything very well. It was international as well. We discovered Hotline Miami was the first showcase, 2012 at A.Maze. Flambeer were showing up, giving a talk together. Jonathan Söderström and Dennis Wedin were there. Lots of all the people who are now successful in the indie world were there. So because it was actually the first European event, and Sosov Sosky and all these wonderful people. And now we get 1,300 people, professionals, coming to the A.Maze festival, and there's nothing business related going on at A.Maze. So people are saying, or you were saying, it's kind of the Burning Man of video game festivals. So we have a lot of party, or it goes from, I mean, we have 2 days of, 3 days this year about creation process and also meaningful things and how people are thinking who are making games. And we have master classes, so we have 20-minute talks. We have workshops in hands-on creation. We have screenings. And we have, of course, in the evening, we have some music programs. So 4 days of music program, which also bonds the people together. And as well, we in the evening, it starts that the general public is invited, and then they can mingle around as well with the developers. And it's a very successful concept, and it is a lot of fun. And I'm always saying, when you want to do something like that, just do it like you want to see. So, I mean, it's good to listen to people, what they want. But I mean, you are the maker of the festival. You want to be feeling comfortable and not just doing it for other people. So I think what A.Maze is doing is growing by itself, because we have a wonderful team, and the team is adding a lot of new stuff, and people all over around the world are adding wonderful things, because I can't have an eye on everything. So you need a team. And also what is very helpful, because A.Maze is doing a lot of stuff around the world, like doing something in Palestine. We also did in 2014 a game jam with the Goethe Institute together. I also made from scratch from 2012 until last year a festival in Johanesburg in South Africa, built there a very strong community. Like Ben Myers, one of the nominees for the Best Game Award with Semblance. He was also my program manager back in the days. Now he's just concentrating on making games. And I mean, this is something what makes me very proud, because then I see it makes sense, you know, what I'm doing. Because with all the things, how I want to approach people, it's not something what is perfect, but that enough space that people are feeling well. And I call it always hashtag positive chaos. And this is something what is very, very open-minded. We want to be inclusive. This is something what I want, and this is why I want to work interdisciplinary and open-minded, and I want to embrace everyone. So we also have VR, of course. When VR is there, we have performance art, we have theater people. So we want to bring the people together, because this is the way how we can actually change as well the medium. The medium should be changed, because I don't want to see any more platformer games actually. So and this all this kind of stuff is what is changing when more other people from different kind of arts and backgrounds are coming to the festival and adding their thing. So that's also why I changed a little bit the thing how I make the selection process, and it's also mixing it with digital art and video games and performance arts and of course music and stage performances, shader art or whatever, making weird GIFs. You know, everything, this is the culture, this is the subculture of the digital age. And this is something what I want. I want to see something like that. I don't want to see just the games industry. And this is the A.Maze festival. Other festivals are doing it different. And maybe this is the unique thing what A.Maze has. So the next festival is going to be in April 2019, from the 10th to the 14th. We also have a submission process for the awards this year. So also if you want to give a talk or something like that, just try to reach out to us, and yeah, maybe we also can work together with a big festival to make some kind of travel arrangements. This would be very, very cool, because I want to see definitely more international people as well as people from Latin America. Yeah, and just want to, this is my talk, and I have a 3 minutes video. Can we see the video, please? Thank you very much. Yeah, at the A.Maze Festival you make a lot of friends and you meet a wonderful community, and you're invited. Just come and check it out. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is John Davis. I'm one of the co-founders of BitSummit. We started BitSummit 6 years ago. It's a indie, we call it a Kyoto indie event. It's in Kyoto, Japan. It was started at Q Games by a couple of us who had a little free time on our hands. We started the event with the aim of, well, two main goals. One was to connect Japanese indies. Unlike a lot of indie scenes around the world, the Japanese indie scene was very fractured. And the devs weren't talking to each other, and it was making it very hard for, I think, them to build a strong community in order to kind of give themselves an international identity. So we wanted to have a place for them to congregate and for the Western media to come and see that there was an indie scene in Japan. And vice versa, we wanted to kind of extol the virtues of indie games that were happening around the world to the Japanese press. So it started out as a very small event. We had about 200 people at the first show, and since then it's grown over the past 6 years. This year we had over 11,000 people in over about 100 games. A great group of sponsors that have come in. We're one of the few events that Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony sponsor, so we're very proud of that. The event has grown to the point now. It was kind of a B2B event at first, but it's very much a B2C event now. We try to focus on letting Japanese, like the weirdness of Japanese indies, kind of spread throughout the world. We've had some very, very strange games come out of it. We always seem to have some. We had a game where someone, you use a shampoo bottle as a controller. We've had games where people are fighting with crabs this year. So it's a very interesting festival. It's very small, I think, compared to a lot of these events that you guys are doing. I think I'm probably the tiniest voice up here. But it's very intimate because of that, and I think the devs have a really good time. We do BitSummit usually about May or June every year, and we've collaborated with the Indie Mega Booth, with Busan Indie Connect, which is another indie festival in Korea, with Taipei Game Show and Taipei Game Developers Forum. It's a great show. It's a great excuse, I think, for devs to come and visit Japan. I think I hear this all the time, like, I want to go to BitSummit and I want to go to Japan, so it's a great excuse for me. The devs come out and they have a really good time, and they get a chance to meet directly with the Japanese press and Japanese consumers and try to figure out if there's a market there for their game. One of the challenges that we had very quickly when starting the festival, and I think one of the challenges for Japanese indies in Japan, is that indie does not hold the same kind of meaning in Japanese than it does in other languages, I believe. The Japanese perception of indie was low quality. If you're a high quality game or a high quality, musician or movie or whatnot, you should be with a big company, with a big Zaibatsu and, a big publisher. We have really tried hard to show that there are burgeoning auteurs in games at BitSummit. We've been very fortunate to have a lot of Japanese big name developers come out and support the show and give us a lot of legitimacy. Suda51 has come out. Yoshida Shuhei, Yoshi P from Sony is always there. Tetsuya Mizuguchi from Enhanced Games. There's a big list of really great developers that have come out and supported the show every year. So we're very proud of that. We do an award show as well as part of our submission process. So We open up submissions usually in December or January of every year. And, please submit your game and have an excuse to come to Japan when you're selected. Because we'd love to have you. Yeah, thank you. You can still come, yeah.
Have a presentation, I think.
See, I got played, man. I had a presentation too. Great.
So my name is Camile, and I'm from the Geneva International Film Festival, which is in Geneva, Switzerland. It's a film festival, but we present different types of formats, and we kind of defend a position which is at the crossroads of genres and disciplines. And we have international competitions for feature films, web series, television series, music videos, and immersive works, which is comprises VR, MR, and AR. And I work at the immersive works department and the professional industry department, which is linked to. It's fine. It's okay. There were just nice photos. It was not informative. And so we have been presenting VR at the festival since 2014. So that was one of the first film festivals in Europe that was presenting VR at the time. And we had an international competition since 2016, and it was also one of the first festivals in Europe to have competition for VR. We've presented more than 80 VR works at the festival since then, and we're continuing to grow the number of works each year. We have 10 works in the competition and 15 to 20 works out of the competition. The works that we program are all types of VR works, VR, AR, MR, and we have artworks by contemporary artists, we have works by filmmakers, we have works by people who come from the game industry. And last year we had a game work called Life of Us by Chris Milk and Aaron Coblin that was in our international VR competition. We don't really define the genres of the VR we present, which is very important as we're a very transdisciplinary festival. Our professional program is also dedicated to VR with panels and programs that, time to talk about digital creation, digital innovation, and with a kind of humanist approach to technology. And we try to foster encounters and discussions that promote that kind of approach critical thinking to the future of the audiovisual scene. And I was meaning to present the nice pictures, but it's fine. What can I say? So we have an open call, so you can submit. Submit for it's free of registration. You can just upload your file, and we'll consider every file that is uploaded. And it's until the 20th of August. So you can just go on our website. It's www.gif.ch, and just register your work for the competition. And the festival is in November, from the 2nd to the 10th November. It's over 10 days, 2 weekends. And there's about 300 works in all the competitions that are presented, so it's quite a big festival in terms of the different types of works and the different types of experiences that you can have there. The VR program is quite important. We have about 600 square meters space to present the VR, and we have also experiences that are outside of our main venue, because we try to present VR in different approaches and different experiences. So we have theater plays, we have multiplayer experiences, and that requires maybe more space and more technical aspects that we can't have in our main venue. And then more generally, outside of the festival, our festival works with different other festivals in Switzerland that have VR programs. So we curate VR for different festivals in Switzerland. We create VR for for the Wiedemann Games Festival, which is a partner to this festival. We create VR for the Locarno Festival. We create VR for the Neuchâtel Fantastic Film Festival. And we Swiss productions in Cannes and in Montreal, in Boston, South by Southwest. And we try to be active all year long to promote the importance of VR production in Switzerland, because there's quite actually a lot happening there, even if it's very small. And yeah, I think that's it. Please submit your work. We're very happy to consider new productions from Brazil and South America in general. So feel free to ask me any questions if you have questions at the end on how to submit.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Barish. Oh, okay. And I'm the CEO and founder of IndieCade. About 14 years ago, a bunch of us were sitting around in my parents' living room, and we all worked on the fringes of the interactive media industry. I came out of animation and kind of fell in love with computers, and myself worked on the first Mortal Kombat. So I did a bunch of stuff, and we were all, looking around the game industry, since I kind of came out of film, and we were looking around, and we were like, there's no Sundance, there's no Cannes, there's no Tribeca, that didn't even exist then, but there were no festivals really celebrating independent games, and there was nobody really talking about independent games in the same way that people were talking about it, about films. And the independent films have been so crucial for moving into the film industry forward, for bucking the conventions and creating really interesting work and making the future happen. So sitting around in my parents' living room, we had this idea, and we started, we used Sundance as our model, and we were like, who's going to be our Robert Redford? How are we going to do this? And then we decided, games are collective, we're going to do this together. I have been working with the same people for all of these years. So IndieCade is not an individual project, just like making games usually aren't either. And life is pretty collaborative. And it took us about 2 years to get ourselves together to get our first event. Our very first event was at E3. And we were so grateful to get like a few dollars and be able to bring independent game makers to E3. And it was just kind of at the peak of where people were starting to be interested in independent games. And like half the games that we brought, people were amazed by, and the next year showed up on the big part of the show floor. And that kind of started where we were. It took us another year or so to get our first festival together in Seattle. And it was completely amazing to bring together developers that hadn't had that experience before. We got a little bit of arts funding, and in the United States, that's very unusual. And the people who funded us, the city that funded us, were shocked that we got people coming from around the world. They had funded all these like sculpture projects and painting things, and they only got local people. But we got people from around the world. And at that time, which was 12 years ago, there weren't really very many events for developers to get together and connect. And so it was a really big deal and a big opportunity, and it meant a lot to us to be able to do that. And it took a lot to be able to do it. So that was kind of our launch event, was having our very own event. And we've also tried being like part of other little events. I was telling John about our first time we tried to be at PAX, and we just didn't understand what PAX was about. We brought all these experimental games, and nobody understood at all what we were doing, and we were never invited back. But luckily we persevered and continued with our own festival. Our mission is really to celebrate independent games, to help raise them as being culturally relevant, as pieces of art, as pieces of fun, of pieces of things that are really important that are moving the world forward. And not just the games, we really celebrate the people and who makes the games. It's really important. They're not disconnected. And at the festival, the focus is really on our games. So at the center of our festival now, we've had 12 editions. We've been at E3 for longer than that. And we've spun off and created an event in Paris because we realized that it's hard for European developers to get. It's expensive to get to the US. We've shown thousands of games. We show all kinds of games. We're completely platform agnostic. We were the first festival to include things like live games of humans versus zombies and people throwing socks across things, and live versions of Frogger and alternate controllers, and we've shown all kinds of things. And we continue to show whatever the next and newest thing is, and that's kind of what we care about. So each year we have now a festival. We have it's a competition, really, because you have to submit your game. Our submissions are still open right now. There is if anybody's interested, on our website, IndieCade.com. But please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about submitting your game. But our submissions are open right now for our fall festival in October. We carefully review all the games. We really think about the games that go in, and we really think about the people. So we end up with about 36 nominees, and a bunch of other games that are kind of hand-picked that we think are important in the festival. Last year we showed about 200 games. But even if you're not accepted into the festival, your game and you are very important to us, and you are invited to the first part of our festival to show your work that didn't get in. You're to be part of the community of developers that can talk to each other and connect with each other, connect with people, with funders and publishers if that's what you want to do, connect with museums if that's the direction you're going, and just to be able to talk to one another and spend time together, improving what we're all doing together and networking. So part of the submission is also inviting everybody into our community. Our festival is in October. It's October 11th through 13th. And in Paris, it's the 19th and the 20th. I don't really have anything else to say except that for us, games and fun and doing this is the medium of the future and the medium of all of our generations, and it's really so rewarding to be part of this and to make all of these new friends. 7 years ago, Eliana and these guys came to us to tell us this crazy idea they had for making Big Festival, and we sat there with them and we were trying to brainstorm and have advice, and it's been so wonderful to watch it grow from afar, and I'm so impressed to be here. So thank you so much for having us and having us be part of this community. I have the mic, I can talk.
I think we have one. Well, I think it's, to whoever wants to answer, but basically the question is, what's the difference? Why are the Japanese games different from other games, and what's the vibe of the Japanese games? And
Stephanie, what do you think about that? I'm joking. Why are Japanese games?
Yeah,
different?
what's the different vibe and why? Yeah, there's a why here. Yeah.
I don't think that's unique to Japan. I think every country has its own flavor with games. The Japanese indie scene has grown from what's called the doujin scene. It's like a creator scene. Japanese creators were really just making stuff in their garages, or not garages in Japan, but in their rooms, yeah. The hikokimoris, guys living by themselves, or salarymen coming home, and not ever thinking to share it with anyone except for going to like big comic markets to show their games there, and then they just go back, and that was it. So they were making things that they wanted for themselves. But I think it's the same in Nordic countries, or anywhere around the world. There's always a kind of a local flavor to games, and it's just your cultural differences kind of influence that and guide it. Yeah, I don't think it's unique to Japan. I think Japan just has some of the strangest games.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of weird games out there.
Yeah. There's some strange games. Yeah, I remember in the PS2 era there was a game called Ka, which means mosquito in English, and it was a game about flying around and biting people, but you were doing it to help them. It's like it was like acupuncture as a mosquito. Yeah, it was one of the Simple Series 2000 games back in the PS2 era. Yeah, so and Sony published that.
Yeah, another question. How do you guys select companies and lecturers to the events that you...
I can start. By companies, I suppose you mean the submission process for the games? Or does it mean for the industry companies? If industry companies, we ask the developers who they want to talk to. So we go straight to the developers and ask them, and go backwards from there. And the way we have talks is we either decide there's something that's really important that we want to talk about, and all of our committees are headed by our alumni, people who've been part of IndieCade, and they run it. Or if you've submitted a game, you're allowed to submit a talk. And so we have a lot of our developers who are also speakers.
At the A.Maze Festival, we have no submission for talks. Everything is handpicked because we just check what people are working on, and we try to get connected to them, and because in a 20 minutes talk you don't have so much time to really talk about everything and go very deep. So we just say, put something what is really, really valuable for you, why you do it and why you are creating this kind of game maybe around the topic, and then you start talking about it. And we also have some longer sessions, like Adrian from Hidden Fox was giving a talk, very strong talk, where he was talking about transparency, so of how how he created his work and how good it is for him when he is a successful developer, was to give all his knowledge out to people, that they don't do the same mistakes, or that they learn from people who are successful. But it's not kind of a business talk, so we are not working with real companies. We are working more as well with universities who have a certain topic or a subject they want to talk about. So we also invite media researchers to come to the festival and talk about the research, what they do, because for me it's very important that all the stuff what is happening now, and for me it's a kind of a movement, that everything is very nicely documented and archived. And who are the archivists? These are the media researchers. They're writing about us, they're writing about you, cool stuff what you do. Suddenly it's in a book and it will never get forgotten. And this is something what is definitely an aspect of the festival. And yeah, that's about the talks, and then we have also awards, submissions.
Cool. Thanks. Anyone else?
The Nordic Game, actually, we have 3 types of talks there. The main ones we handpick, like A.Maze, so we look for anything that is very original, that is innovative, that has practical implications, and that can actually move the crowd and be remembered. So we don't have submissions for that one. But there's one track that we dedicate to developers, which is a fast track. And this one, it's about, we take a problem solution approach, in the sense that you come on stage, you submit, and then if you're selected, you come on stage, and then you present a problem you had in your game design, or in your game business strategy, or monetization, anything, video trailers, whatever, and then how you've actually overcome that problem. Because in the end, it's all about learning together and being very honest and just growing the sense of community. And the third one we've started this year, just 4 weeks ago, and it's something that kind of goes against world politics today, against antagonism and all this racist behavior by world leaders. So we try to actually create a medium for games for change, in which global values are reinforced for local solutions. And for this one, I'm very happy if you could submit to us any sort of ideas. This is run by Kate Edwards, who's the former IGDA general director, and Tsahi Lieberman. So we try to have a lot of diversity within this specific dimension. And on the game submission side, of course, a discovery contest, which I hope to bring to Brazil next year. So we have a clear entry from Brazil in the discovery contest finals at Nordic Game. You can submit to those or to any events that we travel around the world. Our next discovery contest will be at Gamescom, where the official competition for DevCon. So, and there's also wildcards. But if you have any questions, you can just write to me, teddy@nordicgame.com. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we managed to upload your presentation. So you can show some pictures before we end. Is it okay?
Yeah, sure. I don't want to bring all the attention to me in the end, but so this is just the new poster of our festival. And so we have a theme each year, and the theme this year is trans realities. But actually, I have the slide. I have to push it. But they're really just to look at. It's nothing very informative.
It's nice to end with images, pictures. Let's sing together.
So this was one of the VR installations that we had last year, which was quite interesting. It was quite large-scale installations with artworks as sculptures that had trigger points for VR experiences to start. And it was a I think it was 8 or 10 people at a time. This was our kids program. We have a kids program for VR. I think, usually it's not recommended under 13, but if the parents insist, you can go and show them. And this is the president of Switzerland experiencing VR for the first time. And so this is the link to our website for the call for entries. I think, this is enough.
Okay, great. Thank you guys very much for being here. Let's hope we continue our conversations and do something together very soon. And let's give a hand to these people.